African players need to be given their flowers. After watching this video, you are going to agree with me that African players are the greatest players in the world of football. Let's watch this video together. This particular goal was scored in a grand style. It's coming from a forward, a 23 years old Burkina Faso player. His name is Dango Ouattara. Dango Ouattara plays for Bournemouth, and this particular penalty he scored ought to win a Puskar Award or the goal of the season. You can see the kind of technique, you can see the way he played the ball. He played it effortlessly, and it shows that he is a player to reckon with. I wish Arsenal could be able to sign this particular player. It's unfortunate that he recently just signed a new contract with Bournemouth in January, and his contract is set to end in the year 2028. So it's going to be a long while for Arsenal to be able to sign this particular player. Well, why did I say African players is the greatest player in the history of football? Well, it is no doubt that African players around the world has been downplayed. African players around the world is not being respected. We have seen instances where they are being disrespected and they are not reckoned with because they are black or because they are Africans. Well, of recent, we had a news coming from a former England player, Carragher, who is now a pundit. He said African tournament is not a major tournament. This is a big blow and this is a slap to the African continent. And without a doubt, we have top players that has been making response to these particular assertions that was made by Carragher. We have the like of JJ Okocha, who actually made a comment. We have the likes of Mikel Obi. Mikel Obi said, coming from someone who has not won any title for himself when he actually played, he has not won any major title for himself, he has not won any trophy, making such assertions saying that African tournament is not a major tournament. Well, in a way, I would say this is why he said so. He said so because there's no hype around the African Nations Cup. And again, we have more of Africans that have actually nationalized in other countries. If all these players are being drawn to African Nations Cup, trust me, African Nations Cup will never be the same. Will supersede even the Euros. This is a big slap on the African tournament, and this video is not to actually raise any racial disparity, but it is to actually give recognition to the African continent and to African players who have played and graced the football world. So far so good. It has been only one individual that has been able to reach the highest height when it comes to a football career, and that is Weah from Liberia, who won the Ballon d'Or in 1995 and also the FIFA Player of the Year. Ever since then, there have not been any African that has attained this height. The question is, have there not been Africans that has been doing well? They have been. But the question is, the nationality they fall under do not make them to recognize them as Africans. Mention them. We have top players around the world that has been making big names for themselves, but they are playing under another nationality. To mention a few, we have the likes of Saka, we have the likes of attain, that's from Arsenal, we have the likes of Mbappe, Dembele, Thierry Henry, Ronaldinho, Abedi Pele, and also it might amaze you to know that Cristiano Ronaldo has an African ancestry race linked to Africa. His grandparent from the father's side is an African. That is to tell you that all these players that has actually changed nationality, they are Africans. Without a doubt, if you check through their ancestral race, you are going to see that all these players that are doing very well has an ancestral race to them. An ancestral race that is linking all of them. Name all the big stars that we have today and that has come even before all these players. This is the right time for all Africans to come together to give all these players their flowers. Of recent, there was a video that was circulating from Bayer Leverkusen. That video actually had a fellow player of Victor Boniface. This player had an opportunity in the goalpost. He missed it. Boniface actually came to rebounce this ball that you had a clear opportunity to shoot. But what did this player did? This player was angry and said something insultive to Boniface, which Boniface did not actually take lightly. Look at the likes of Ademola Lookman for Atlanta. Look at the likes of Victor Osimhen. These things have been going on and on and on, and this is something very disrespectful for an African player. If all Africans that has an ancestral race to Africa come and play in the African Nations Cup, trust me, the Euros will not be compared to an African Nations Cup. This is something that every player needs to look into. And it is so disappointing to see that African players are going through all these things when they play in Europe and anywhere they find themselves around the world. Guys, let me know what you think about this video. Do you think African players are really getting the hype they ought to get? Do you think they should keep swapping? Because that is what is happening. And sometimes when you check the reason why all these players change their nationality, you are not going to blame them for changing their nationality. Imagine Bukayo Saka playing for England. Imagine Ntewanyeri playing for England. All these players, if they come to the Super Eagles, the Nations Cup will be a one to watch. Guys, let me know what you think about this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.